Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Jazz, or V. You can call me whatever you like. Both is okay. And today, by popular demand, the popular demand being my bestie asking me to do this video multiple times, we will be talking about my star rating system, or how I rate my books. I feel like I always tell you like, oh yeah, I read this book 4 stars, or I gave this book 3 stars, but star rating is extremely individual. Like, there are people that give 5 stars to everything. I know people that give 1 stars to basically everything. So I felt it would be a good moment before we start into the new year to share with you how I rate my books and what you can understand when I say, oh, I gave this book 3 stars. I have a system that I've established for myself in 2024, actually end of 2023 we have to say, so for the year of 2024 and the year of 2025 I've used this system and it's worked quite well for me. That also means if you check my Goodreads and you see books that I've rated from 2023, this system does not apply. However, I think I will go in change them. I don't know when yet, but I'm planning to adjust them. I have to do a lot of thinking because it's been 2 years since I read the books, right? So I have to think about what do I want to adjust and how do I want to adjust it. So let's get into my star rating system. So my book rating system works with 5 stars and always with full stars. So I don't do half. Personally, I just really like to have a full number. Sometimes I have books that fall a bit in between. Usually if I'm not sure, I would go with the lower rating because it kind of feels like, oh, we didn't reach it, so I might as well give it the lower rating. I will start with 1 star, of course, and except for the 1 star category, I will always give you examples. Now, before we talk about the 1 stars, I need to talk about DNF. So DNFs are books that I did not finish, and there is no DNFing in my head. To explain, if I start a book, I usually will finish it. The rare occasion that I DNF a book, I always have in my mind that I will continue it someday. And I have had situations like that where I had a book that I didn't finish and then I came back to it half a year later and I did finish it. Because for me, I don't like having unfinished things, so I'm always trying to finish my books. Which means there's not really a DNF stack, which then also means when the books are 1 stars, I was fighting through it. So let's get into the 1 star category. Now, books that I rate 1 star, there could be varying reasons for it. The main reason is obviously I did not enjoy the book at all. However, that is usually not enough for me to give it 1 star because it must have been really bad for me to give it 1 star. So books I give 1 star to, I find extremely boring, and I usually don't agree with a message or a theme that is in the book. And also, it usually has some bigger issue within the book. Well, generally, the category just means it's a book I do not recommend whatsoever. Which could also be that I don't agree with the message by the author in it. It could be a good book that I just completely disagree with. The story could be fine, but I just disagree with the message. Now, if you want to know which books, it's 3 books in the last 2.5 years, you can go check my Goodreads, just sort by 1 stars. There's 3 books that I've rated 1 star, all for different reasons, and yeah, that's just, yeah, those are my 1 stars. I will not mention them because obviously I don't recommend them, so I don't want to talk about them. Alright, let's get into the 2 stars. Now, 2 star books, they're bad. I did not find them enjoyable. Actually, I don't know if they're bad, but they're not for me. They're definitely not for me. I am not the target audience of this book. I don't enjoy this book. Either the writing style or the story were not good or even bad. The story was boring. I did not find the books engaging. The 2 stars are actually the books I didn't like. Now, with 2 stars Rites, it could also be that the book is actually okay, but it had a bigger issue, for example, blatant homophobia or racism in it. For those things, I usually deduct a star, depending on the book. Sometimes it's a 4-star read that gets a star deducted to a 3-star read. Often it's a 3-star read that gets deducted to a 2-star read. Now, examples for 2-star reads for me. The most iconic one, I guess, is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I know, okay. Now, for this book specifically, I just really think I'm not the target audience. I do think this book, some people might enjoy it. I did not like it at all, but it kind of redeemed itself in the last 30% of it because it was a 1-star read for the first 60-70% of it. And yeah, it's just, the book is not for me, and that's okay. If people ask me oh yeah, would you recommend reading Yellowface? Because I've had friends asking me that. I tell them, listen, the book wasn't for me, but maybe you would enjoy it. That means I am reflected enough to not go bashing this book just because I didn't like it. Another example is a book I actually read this year, which was House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. I just didn't vibe with the book. I found it boring. I didn't like the ending at all. I found it was selling something that it actually wasn't. So it was selling me a sapphic situation and horror, and somehow it just didn't hit with me. So that's another book that I gave 2 stars just because I was not the target audience. I did not get any enjoyment out of it. Unfortunately, a lot of romance books for me go into this category as well, because there's just too many trope issues that I have when reading them, and so I just end up giving them 2 stars. Now let's get to the 3-star reads. I usually give a 3-star to a book where I can go like, okay, yeah, it's a good book, but I didn't get anything out of it. So for me, it usually is not engaging enough. I'm not obsessed with the book. I find it maybe a little boring, or I found at times that it was like a little slow paced, or that I had a hard time reading through it, so I would give it 3 stars. And then also, it's possible that the story would be a 4-star in the writing, but then obviously racism, homophobia, whatever is in there, so I deduct a star for this kind of book. So 3 stars, I usually recommend it to people. I would say, yeah, give it a go, have fun, but I'm not going to be very enthusiastic about it, but I will say, okay, it wasn't for me, but I see why people like this book. I think that's a big part of a 3-star read, is that I can see why people like a book like that. So examples for a 3-star read for me, a very recent example that I talked to you about in a video was obviously Equal Rites by Terry Pratchett. I like the book. Yes, I see why it's good. I like the writing. I think it's good. But for me, it was just boring at times, not as engaging as I would have hoped for, and thus gave it a 3-star. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna read another Terry Pratchett book. Another example for a 3-star read for me was another highly rated book by the community, I would say, is My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. Again, for me, the book was just too long, not engaging enough. However, as you've maybe heard in my series video, I talked about it there, I do think about the characters sometimes, which means the book was written in a way that it stayed with me, but I just felt like I'm not the target audience, but I do see why the book is good and I can get through it, but I'm just not sure if I actually really enjoy this book. And then finally, a lot of classic books go into the 3-star category for me because I usually don't really vibe with the writing. And so far, the Agatha Christie books I read also fell into a 3-star category. I see why they are good. For example, Poirot Christmas, I read that a year ago or 2. I knew I read it around Christmas season. No, it must have been a year ago. And that's another one I gave a 3-star to because I felt like, okay, yeah, solid book, but just not as engaging. Like, if I'm reading crime, shouldn't I be like invested? So that's for the 3-star books. Now, we're getting into controversial territory because we are reaching the top 2 categories. My 4-star reads probably would be 5-star reads if someone else was rating them. My 4-star reads are books I love. That's that, right? Books I love are 4-star reads for me. I'll get into 5 stars in a second so you will understand the difference. But a book I love is usually for me one that I would recommend to a friend, like highly recommend, one of the books that I would like rave about, that I go like, oh, this book was so good, I loved it so much. That's a 4-star read for me. And that also means some of my all-time favorite books are 4-star reads. I love the book. I love the book, and it's a 4-star read for me. And so, for example, a 4-star read for me is Howl's Moving Castle, and actually the entire series. And I have them all on my shelves here. I love them. I have them on display. I'm obsessed with them. They're 4-star reads to me. They're fantastic. I will not shut up about Howl's Moving Castle. If you talk to me about it, you will hear a lot. I can talk for an hour or 2. I don't care. I'm obsessed, you know. I love them. But still, 4-star read for me. Another example for a 4-star read would be Where the Dark Stands Still by A.B. Poranek. Another book I absolutely love. I guess it's kind of in the same category as Howl's Moving Castle because they're like similar in a way. But another book I really enjoy. I tell all my friends to read it. It's actually a romance that got me locked in and engaged. So that's another one. Or also Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. Fantastic book. Recommended to many, many people. And I think now the biggest difference between a 4 and a 5-star read is who I recommend the book to. Because a 5-star read, for me, is a book I think everyone should be reading or should have read at least once in their life. So that's the big difference. I don't think everyone should read Howl's Moving Castle. I think there's a lot of people that should read Howl's Moving Castle, but I don't think it's mandatory reading, if you know what I mean. So for me, 5-star reads are mandatory reading, which for me personally means they changed my life. They made me think, they made me question things, they made me aware of issues or more aware of issues that I've already knew. They kind of furthered my horizon. Now, there's a bunch of books that go into this category for various reasons. One example would of course be 1984 by George Orwell. That's a book I think everyone should be reading because it talks about issues that are extremely relevant to the human experience, to us as a society existing, and I just think it's a book that should be read. And another example would be The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin, which I've read recently. Another one where I'm just like, okay, yeah, people should be reading this book because it makes you think, it changes how you see things, and it makes you question things that you take for granted, and I love that about books. I think these kinds of books are important, and this is why I give them 5 stars. Another book like that would be Everyday Use by Alice Walker. I gave it 5 stars. It's a short story. Read it. Read it. It's like 30 pages. Very much a book I recommend reading because it just talks about another issue that maybe you don't have on the radar but is relevant to understanding culture, understanding relationships, understanding liberation. Very important. And another book I have on my 5-star list is Lessons in Chemistry. I feel a lot of the feminist literature that can be related by a broad amount of people would make a 5-star if the story is good and if it's engaging and if it makes you think. So these are like the things that kind of make it. Now, obviously, you can critique my star rating system, which is fair. I totally get it. I once talked to a friend about it, and then my friend was like, but then some books can never be a 5-star, which is, yeah, for me, they can't be a 5-star. For example, most romance books can't be a 5-star read. Most. There are romance books that can be a 5-star read, but if I read a fun romance that I want to read over and over again, it's probably not a 5-star. My 5-star reads are not chill literature. I think that's kind of the thing. And I don't say this is the right way to rate a book. I think it's totally fair to give every book you ever enjoyed a 5-star. That's great. I don't know if it's totally fair to give every book a 1-star just because you didn't love it, because, you know, someone put effort in it. I personally don't like giving 1 stars. It's my least rated category, just saying. But I do think everyone should rate their books however they like and however they want. This is a system that works for me and that works in my head because I very much read and then think about who would I recommend this book to. And so that's why my star rating kind of goes with that. A 1-star, no recommendation. A 2-star, not recommending it, but hey, give it a try if you want it. A 3-star, if you like this, go read it. A 4-star, I recommend it to people that are into these genres, these subjects, and to all my friends because I want to yap about it. And a 5-star, I recommend it to every single person who reads. And also who doesn't read. You know, I think we should all be engaging with those books. So yeah, that's a summary of how I rate my books with examples. We've come to the end of this video. I'd like to know from you, what are books that you give 5 stars to? What are your criteria for that? And otherwise, all I can say is like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell down there so you don't miss another video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, and also, since this video is being uploaded on the 22nd of December, if you celebrate Christmas, enjoy. I hope you have good conversations. And if you have bad ones, just leave the room. That's like what I would do. We'll see us next week for the final video of this year. Thank you and goodbye.